Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial with Casey. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a kiddie sticker dress. But before we get to this tutorial, I'm just showing you guys samples of kiddie sticker dresses that I've made over the years. You can make them for kids of ages 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And I think I'm in love with the color yellow because I've made this sticker dress in yellow fabric like so many times. So you can use any type of sticker in any size, okay? And if you want to learn how I made this my stickers from scratch, you have to watch this video to the end because I'm going to be giving you guys a little sneak peek of how to make these stickers. Okay, so I'm just showing you guys different stickers that I've made. You can also use your image as well to do this sticker, but we'll get to that. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how I made this yellow sticker dress and this red sticker dress as well. So let's begin. Okay guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to be making that sticker dress which I showed you guys earlier on in this video, and I'm going to be making it for a 2 to 3 year old girl. So I'm going to be using this measurement. So sorry about that. So for me, these are the measurements that I use for a 2 to 3 year old little kid. So it may be different from yours. If you're using my ready to wear charts, may be different from yours. Okay, so this is just the one that I use and it works like fine for me. So I use a shoulder of a shoulder measurement of 8 to 9 inches, the neck width of 3.5 to 4 inches, the armhole of 4 inches, the chest 21 inches, the hip 22, and the gown length of 20. So here I don't think we're making use of the hip measurements. No, I don't think, because it's sort of like a free gown. Okay, so it's not going to be tight, anywhere. It's like very free. It's flowing. So let's begin. So I don't want to make this gown sort of like straight. Okay, so it's going to be slanted a little bit, and to get that effect, what I'm going to do is basically, this is the edge of my fabric. You don't need so much fabric to do this. You just need about 1 inch yard of fabric, and then probably the ankara. This is the ankara that I'm going to be using for the lower part as well. Then the sticker also. So from this end of my fabric, I'm just going to be folding it this way. Okay, sort of like this whole sort of like I'm sort of like trying to create a triangle. So this is the way that I'm folding my fabric, and from here, from this edge, I'm going to be measuring out what I need. So her shoulder is, I'm going to be using a shoulder measurement of 8 inches. Now, because my fabric is folded this way, half of the shoulder measurement, 8 inches, half of 8 inches is 4 inches, which is what I'm going to be marking in first. But before we do that, I'm just going to draw in a straight line, which is like sort of like a right angle to this. This is going to be where I would take in all of the measurements, like sort of like the top of this gown. So right from here, I'm going to be marking in the shoulder measurement. That is my shoulder line. Half of the 8 inches is 4, which is exactly what I'm putting in here, 4 inches. I'll add all my allowances for sewing when I'm done marking in the exact measurements. Then I'll add all the allowances that I need for sewing. So from here to here is half of that shoulder measurement, which is 4 inches. Okay, so we have a neck width of 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to be doing here is marking half of that 3.5 inches, which is I think 1 and something, but for this tutorial I'm going to be using 2 inches. Okay, I'm going to be using a neck width of I'm going to be using a neck width of 4 inches instead of this 3.5. So half of that 4 inches is 2, which is exactly what I'm marking in here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is to mark in the depth of the neckline. So this dress is not going to have zip, so we want to put in a neckline that will allow the kid to easily remove this clothes from her head, easily pull it off and wear it back in. Obviously it's going to have a pressing button at the back. Okay, so from here I'm going to be using a neck depth of 2.5 inches. From here to here is 2.5 inches. Take note, which is the depth of the neckline. The width of the neckline is 2 inches, which is from here to here. Now I'm going to draw in, use using this my curved ruler. I'm going to be like sort of like, oh, don't want to move this, sort of like drawing in the neckline. So this is the neckline. So the next thing we're going to do is to draw in the armhole, the rest of the gown as well. So right here I'm going to be using, we have an armhole of 4 inches here. Okay, but I'm going to be using around if I use 4 inches, it's a sleeveless gown, obviously, yes. But if I use 4 inches, it's going to be a little bit too big on her. If you usually make kiddies dresses, you'd understand what I'm trying to say. So I just want to rule a straight line, that this shoulder point we took here, which is 4 inches, I just want to draw it down here, sort of like drawing it a straight line from that edge. Okay, we just want to do it as a guide to drawing the armhole, just as a guide to drawing the armhole. Okay, so this is that straight line, and normally we have to slant the shoulder line by about 1/2 inch. You're just going to slant the shoulder line here from this point to this point is 1/2 inch. So using my measuring tape, I'm going to be marking, let's use let's just use an armhole of 3.5 inches instead of using 4, because if we use 4, it's going to be too wide, because this is sleeveless. We don't really want her armpits to be showing that much. So I'm using 3 inches from this slanted part of 3 inches down here. Is from this slanted part of 1/2 inch to here is 3.5 inch. So I'm using 3.5 inch instead of 4. From this point to this point is 3.5 inches, please note. So this is what we have now, and the next thing that I'm going to be doing, let me bring this closer, I don't know if you guys can see it. The next thing we're going to be doing, I'm going to be using my curved ruler to sort of like draw in the armhole. Let me use my free hand to do this. I just sort of drew in the armhole here. So then we're getting to the best part about this, which is drawing in, that whole fillet that this gown is supposed to have. So we have a chest measurement of 21 inches, but because we want this thing to be free, we don't really want it to be tight, I'm going to be adding an ease allowance of 1 inch. So we have 21 plus 1 inch is 22 inches. Okay, so we're going to put in chest measurement here at this armhole line, 22 inches, but we're not going to put in 22 inches directly. We're going to divide that by 4, because this is half of the front pattern that is here. I'm going to cut out another one for the back, which is half of it as well. So I don't really know how to explain this, but we're going to be putting in a quarter of her chest measurement here, a quarter of the chest measurement here, okay, which is 22 inches divided by 4. That's what I'm trying to get now. So I have roughly 5.5 inches. So right from this edge here, I'm marking 5.5 inches. We have 5.5 inches here, quarter of the chest measurement. Now the gown length is 20. We're working with a gown length of 20. But because we're going to be adding this ankara to the lower part of the dress, I'm going to be measuring out 4 inches for that lower part of the dress where this ankara is going to be. It's going to be 4 inches in length. So meaning we're going to be putting in 16 inches here. Okay, so because 16 plus that 4 is going to give us 20 inches. So 16 for the yellow part of the gown, 4 inches for the ankara, which is going to be for the lower part of the gown. So right from this shoulder line, where we put in this whole slanted stuff or whatever, I'm going to be marking it 16 inches, and our 16-inch mark is here. Okay, so right here at this point, you can decide how big or how flare you want this thing to, like, go, and the rest. If you want it like very much, if you want it to have this excess flare at the bottom, you can go up to here and mark where you want it to stop. But for me, I want it to be almost the same thing as the picture, if not the same. I don't want it to be too big, I don't want it to be fitted or tight, just there, just moderate. So I'm going to be using 10 inches for the flare, or let's say 9 inches. I believe 9 inches should be good for a 2 to 3 year old girl. So I marked 9 inches here, and I'm going to connect this 9 inches to this 5.5 inches that we have up here. So this is the front part of the dress. Before we go, cutting it out, I want to use 1/2 inch sewing allowance all the way around. So I'm not going to be marking this, I'm just going to use my scissors and cut it. But I've been sewing for like quite a few years, so I actually know how to sort of like cut with 1/2 inch allowance all around. You see, I'm not cutting it exactly at that line, but if you're a beginner, please use your chalk to sort of like measure it out before you cut. Because if you can see, this is where my chalk is, and this is my 1/2 inch sewing allowance here at the edge. I'm not cutting it directly on where I marked. I'm giving like 1/2 inch allowance. I'm going to do the same thing for the armhole, because for this armhole I'm going to be using a bias tape. I'm going to be using a bias tape to like do the finishing. For the neckline, I'm not adding any allowance, okay, because I still want it to be a little bit wide so that the little kid can remove her clothes from the top and wear it with ease. So this is how the front pattern looks like. So it's on fold, as you guys know. So if I open it up, I'm going to be having this. I'm going to be having this as the front pattern of the Kiddies sticker dress. So I'm going to be cutting the back as well. The only difference between this now and the back of the dress is just the depth of the neckline. We don't want this depth for the back. The back neckline is going to be higher. It's going to be a little bit higher, and we're going to add pressing button, while we are sewing. So I'm going to show you guys that shortly. Okay, so I folded the fabric exactly the same way I did when I was cutting the front. I want to cut the back now. I folded the fabric exactly the same way. But because I'm going to be adding a pressing button to the back, I actually want to divide the back into two. On a normal, most people don't do that, but I believe it's just going to be easier for me, because the back is going to have a little slit. I'm using the wrong word, sorry, not really slit. It's going to have a little opening at the neckline where the pressing button is going to be on top, to give the kid more access to wearing the clothes, from her head. So I'm going to be cutting out the shape. But the back neckline, the depth of the front neckline, I think it was around 2.5 inches or three that we used as for the depth. But for the back, I'm going to be using only 1 inch. So from this point, we're going to be marking a depth of 1 inch, which is this. So I believe this tutorial is, I will encourage mostly intermediate students, people that have already started sewing, to like watch this video and try and recreate it, because a beginner may be a little bit confused, you know but if you're a beginner, you can obviously try it. So I cut out all of this first so that you guys can follow me as I'm like understand how I'm going to cut out the neckline now. But I don't want to shift this. I'm just going to. So I hope you guys understand this now. The back neckline is going to be obviously higher than the front neckline, which is deeper. And now I'm going to open up the back is going to be the center back is going to be sort of like divided, but we're not putting in a zip. I'm just going to be putting in pressing button there. This is how the back pattern is. This is it now. This is the front, like I showed you guys before. Now remember that the length of this from here to here is 16 inches, and I told you I'll be using 4 inches for the lower part of the dress, which will have that that Ankara effect on it. So for this, the length obviously is going to be 4 inches, and the width, that's how long you want it to be. You can make it as long as you want, because remember, we're going to gather it to the bottom. You can either gather it or you can pleat it at the bottom, so you can make it as long as you want. It's left for you. So you don't ask me how many inches did you use. This one you can use as much as 20 inches, 25 inches, depending on how full you want those gathers to be at the bottom. Okay, so me, I'm not going to measure mine. I'm just going to cut out 4 inches length, and then more than 20 inches in the width, because I want it to be very, very full at the bottom. I'm going to be cutting out 4.5 inches in length, because we're going to be like joining this lower bottom to the upper one, but we're going to be using that half an inch so as like the sewing allowance. Okay, so this is it. This is actually, I think it's a little bit smaller than was in the picture, but I've made this dress countless times, but this is okay. This is just like a sample. I just want to like make this dress, because I'm not making it for a client or whatnot. This is just a sample. I want to like sort of like make it, record it, and show you guys, so that you guys can learn. So sorry. Like you guys can see, I didn't measure this. I just cut. This is it. I'm going to be sort of like pleating it at the bottom, or gathers, whatever. This is going to be for the front, this is going to be for the back, and that is that. Okay, so this is what we have now. Let me show you guys all the patterns that I cut out, everything so far. This is for the front. Okay, watch how the neckline is deeper than the back. This is for the front. This is the back. This is the back. Okay, my fabric is a little bit rumpled, but I'm going to be ironing as I sew, or iron after I'm done sewing. Then this is the ankara that I'm going to be using for the lower part. This is for the front and this is for the back. It is two. I'm going to be either placing it or making gathers when I'm attaching it to this one. Now, to finish up the neckline nice and easy, I'm going to be using a bias tape to sort of like finish the neckline for both the front and the back as well. This is a yellow bias tape. Now let's go. We're going to start first with the neckline. The very first thing I'm going to do when I start sewing is to sew up the neckline using the bias tape. I'm going to do the neckline for the front. I'm going to do the neckline for the back. Then I'm going to sort of like sew this. If I'm done with the neckline for the back, I'm going to sew these two together here, closing up this back. This back, I'm going to sew from the bottom all the way to somewhere here, because remember I told you guys that this neck part is going to be a little bit open. We're going to be using a pressing button there. Okay, I'll show you guys as I progress. Okay, so far this is what we have. I've finished up the neckline for the front and for the back, and I've also joined the front to the back pattern at the shoulder line. I've already joined them together. So let me show you guys what the back actually looks like. The back has this seam which we joined. I told you guys we're going to be joining from this point all the way to some points just above the neckline, because we're going to be adding a pressing button to the back. Okay, this is going to allow the kid wearing this thing to be able to put her head through. This is the pressing button. I've already sewed it. Okay, I remember we had to finish up the neckline first with the bias tape before we started off doing any other thing, before we joined this, before we added the pressing button. Then we joined the front to the back at the neckline. So this is just a tutorial to show you guys what to do. You guys can do better than this. You can make your neckline more neater. You can finish it with a facing. Okay, you can weave it and then fold it. You can do better than this. Or if you're using a bias tape, you just make sure that you're doing it fine or perfectly good. So the next thing we're going to do now is to join the sides together, joining the sides for the front and the back here. From the armhole, we're going to sew all the way down here. We're going to do the same thing for this side as well. Then we're going to attach the ankara to the lower part, and then we're also going to use bias tape to like finish up the armhole as well. Okay, so far this is what we have now. I'm done sewing up the ankara, the neckline, and the sides. Okay, so I brought out all the stickers that I have left. So the stickers that I use, I make them myself. It's very much affordable and cheaper if you make them yourself than buying them. I only create for my personal use and for client use. I don't do it commercially. There, if you want to go into it, it's actually a very very profitable business, but right now I don't think I have the time for it, so I only create what I need for myself or what I'm using to create dresses for clients. And I've probably done, I'm going to attach pictures of some of the Kiddies sticker that I've done before, and this is what I have remaining. I do usually do it in bulk. I use them. They usually don't last. I have lots of clients ordering so many stickers. So this is the ones that I have in store right now. This one. Then this one, I made a mistake while printing it out. It's not too clear. the way, like, I wanted it to be. There was an error with this one. It's not that bad, but I'll probably not use it for clients. But this dress that I'm making now is just a tutorial, which I'm going to show you guys how to sew and how to attach the stickers. So this is not like, this dress is not for a client to use, it's just for a sample. Now this as well, this is what I use for my normal sticker dresses, not for kiddies, like for adults. This one is a smaller size, as you guys can see. And these are cute kiddies one as well. So like I said, you don't need to own a machine or any other thing to produce these stickers and the rest. So I actually have an online class for this where I show you guys in detail how I make the stickers, how I get the right sizing, how and where I usually like print my stickers, then the pricing for it, how to like turn this into a commercial business if you want to make money from this. Yes, because this is actually not that cheap to get if you're going to buy it, and it's usually very rare to get people that buy that sell this, and that's why I usually do them myself. I also show you guys how to make a tote bag, how to make an adult sticker dresses, sizes 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, I have a class on that, and all of these things you're going to learn how to do it using your phone and a pressing iron. I also have this sticker, this one as well. This is for a male. It was supposed to be for a male, a male senator or something. Yeah. Then I have this is, I think this was for a previous client. This is the face of her kid, and two, you can also use your face to produce stickers. It's not just this cartoon stickers. You can use your normal face to produce stickers, your pictures that you have in your gallery. Yes, obviously that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you guys in my class. So I'm going to leave the details of this class on your screen and also in the description, and also the WhatsApp link. So if you click on it, you get directed to my DM and you register for my class. It's very, very easy. Okay, so far I really don't have those regular kiddie sticker that I usually do. I'll probably produce more next week, but right now I think I want to use this one. I mean, just use this one and attach it to just the center of the dress. On the normal, it's supposed to be this little kiddies sticker. You just attach it to this lower parts. But since I just have this sticker that I'm using, I probably just attach this one here, or I probably use this ones that are not really like clear, because remember, this is a sample gown. It is not for any client or anybody. I'm just using it to like make this tutorial for you. I probably use this ones. Yeah, I think I will use this one. Just attach this two or one just at the lower part. I think I'll use this red one was really like be okay for it, I think. Or I'll use this one. Okay, so I guess that's what I'm going to use. I think it's better than using this one or this one. This one is for a client use. Okay, so this is what we have so far, and this is the sticker that I'm using, like I showed you guys. And if I want to do this, see how the back is. If I want to do this, I'm going to place the sticker where I want it to be, and I'm going to carry a piece of fabric or a piece of handkerchief or whatever you have, because you're not ironing this thing directly on the sticker. You'd want to place a piece of fabric or your handkerchief or something over the sticker, then you iron it. You make sure that the heat is not too much, it's not too low, and it's not too hot. It should just in between. So this, So I found this video in my phone when I was making a sticker dress for a client. I decided to just attach it in this video because you guys can see the main sticker that I'm supposed to, like, be using. This is for, I think, an 8-year old, a 7-year old or 8-year old kid, and this is the sticker and this is the size that I'm
Okay,
using.
so far, done pressing these stickers on the dress, and I pulled this off before I was able to record, and show you guys how I did it. Remember, it's basically putting the sticker on the fabric, placing a piece of cloth on it, and then sort of like ironing it down. So let me use this as to show you guys an example of how I pulled it off. This is how it's supposed to be when you're finished ironing it. It's supposed to stick to, it's meant to stick to the dress. Then what you're going to do is just to pull this off. I'm using, so this is what we have. Remember that these stickers, like I told you, it wasn't printed well initially. Okay, so instead of just discarding them, I decided to just
I decided to use the stickers to show you guys how to make, a kiddie sticker dress in this tutorial. So you can see it is very easy. This yellow dress is for a 3-4 year old kid, and this red dress is for a 5 to 6 year old kid as well. Okay, so like I said before, you can make this dress with different sizes of sticker, with any type of fabric. You can add sleeve to it, like it just depends on what you want. Just be creative and do do you. Okay, so like I said before, I've created a lot of stickers over the years, and these are just samples of the stickers that I've created that I'm just showing you guys now. And if you want to learn how I made these stickers from scratch, click on the WhatsApp link in my description. Okay, and so that you'll be directed to my class and you can join and learn how to do it easily. I have made an adult sticker dress. I have made a tote bag, which I'm going to show you guys shortly. Okay, you're going to learn how to do all of this in my class, so do not miss out. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. Okay, and till my next video, do have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.